Week 3 of spring ball is over and the Longhorns are hard at work on the practice field. What themes are emerging on both offense and defense? And which side of the ball currently has the upper hand? Eric Nahlin, owner of Inside Texas, is back to give us the latest intel coming out of camp. Inside Texas is your spot to stay in the know on everything Texas football as spring continues. Subscribe to InsideTexas.com today. Link in the description. So, what did we learn about this team this past week? Without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, Eric? And after the third week of practice and the scrimmage on Saturday, what's the story so far? Is defense still out in front?
Yeah, the common theme is holding steady with the defense being ahead of the offense. That's almost always the case in spring ball. It even carries through in August. It's just a lot easier to play defense than it is offense from a simplicity standpoint. You know, the offense requires a whole lot more choreography, a lot more timing between the quarterbacks, timing on the offensive line, a lot more communication. You know, obviously, communication is important on defense, but it's just a higher level on offense. And then, you know, the defense has a good idea what plays they're going to run. They've been, you know, a lot of these guys are seeing Sark's playbook for the third spring in a row now. They kind of know how the wide receivers set up their routes. You know, there's just a lot of familiarity, and familiarity really helps the defense, I think, more so than offense. But it's not like Sark's trying to really scheme the defense either. You know, they're trying to establish their identity on offense. Right now, it's not necessarily working. It's to be expected. Not only does the defense have all those advantages we just said, this is also a very experienced group. You know, they got the age advantage over the offense, over their counterparts.
Yeah, man, offense is so timing sensitive. How is the defensive success reflecting on the quarterback room? Quarterbacks are getting some things right and then some things wrong.
If the overall offense is struggling, obviously that's going to make it a tougher uphill battle for the quarterbacks. You know, they're not playing great, they're not playing poor. You know, they're not setting the world on fire, but they're not making a lot of mistakes. I think Quinn is having a solid camp. You know, he's throwing a pick here or there. Some of those are tip balls. Some of those are, you know, DBs making really good plays. If you notice the few highlights that the program is releasing via Twitter or social media, when the wide receiver makes the play, a DB is usually draped all over him. Not a whole lot of guys running free. You know, it goes back to that experience that the defense has. The offensive players, if they make a play, really have to earn it. Right now, you know, it's tough to come by. It's a veteran group in the secondary. They're tough to beat on routes. It's just a tough battle. This is going to be one of the best defenses that UR seems all season long. So, I mean, it's going to make them better long term. They're doing a good job. They have a good understanding of the offense, I think, relative to where they are in their career. You know, Malik Murphy has a pretty good grasp. Arch Manning moved the ball a little bit on Saturday. I don't think we're really going to know how good this offense is until they play somebody different.
And you said DBs are draping all over the receivers, and that naturally makes quarterbacks look for the check down. So which receivers are able to make some plays in that scenario?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to give the wrong impression that everything's a check down. You know, it kind of has been that way in previous practice blocks. You know, I think Hudson Card checked down quite a bit last August. Take what the offense gives you. They have hit some deep balls. Worthy's caught some deep balls. Yours has thrown some really good passes deep. But for the most part, those are more outliers than what the standard is. The standard is more often than not that the defense has good coverage and they are checking down. And, you know, byproduct of that is, well, they're going to hit Jatavian Sanders in the flat more. They're going to go to Jordan Whittington over the middle to where he's smart, savvy, he's going to find open space. They're just going to be easier targets for the quarterback to find. I'm not necessarily worried about this being a long-term problem, although we're going to have to wait until the season to see how well Ewers and Worthy can connect. You know, that kind of sets a ceiling for the entire year. But right now, I do think the accuracy and the connection is improved. I think that's a byproduct of Ewers' mechanics being improved. But in the live setting, they're not having as much time as they would like to make those connections.
And as we try to establish that offensive identity, especially losing Bijan and Roshan's inside running ability, how are the backs looking in tandem with the struggles at interior offensive line?
Yeah, you know, the identity is going to change a little bit on offense just because you lose those two NFL running backs. Those guys were fairly predictable in what they would get from down to down. Not necessarily the case right now, but I'm not necessarily blaming that on the running backs. You know, running inside is very difficult. Probably the greatest example of the disparity of experience and time in the program is interior defensive line versus interior offensive line. You know, those are full-grown men in the middle. So the newer guys, the younger guys that don't have as much experience are having trouble creating that running room for the running backs. Now, I will say this, the running backs are running hard. It's a complementary group. When we ask sources, you know, pick the best one, it's hard. You know, they'll say what this guy does this, the other guy does that. So, you know, like I've been saying, is I feel Texas is going to be able to win with any combination of these five running backs. Jaden Blue's having a good camp. Savion Red, I think, is a bit of a revelation. Not entirely surprising if you understand how that guy's wired and his strengths. Cedric Baxter, of course, is, you know, just probably the best top to bottom pure running back talent. And then Jonathan Brooks is starting to get eased back in a little bit. So it's going to be a good group. They might have to get a little more creative in the run game. It might be a pass to open up the run versus Sark's preference to run it to open up the pass. I think they're going to be fine. But again, we're not going to really understand how well they can run the ball until they start going up against some different interior defensive lines.
One of the things we do feel really confident about on offense are the tackles in Kelvin Banks and Christian Jones. Comparing our offensive tackles to our edge players on defense, how are those battles progressing into week 3?
Yeah, the edge play between the tackles and the defensive ends is kind of the inverse of the interior play, where this time the advantage goes to the offense. Kelvin Banks and Christian Jones are going to be the best pair in the Big 12, one of the best pairs in the country, most likely. Baron Sorrell, of course, is a good player, can hold his own pretty well. Ethan Burke, he gives a lot of effort. He's still lacking a little lower body strength versus the run. He needs to become a little stronger to be more assertive setting the edge. But there's a give and take the coaches are seemingly willing to live with, at least at this point, because he is a pretty good pass rusher. So he is able to get in the backfield a little bit. It doesn't take a long time to get there, a lot of strides. He can get back there in 3 steps, sort of like Charles Omenihu used to. Wasn't necessarily the quickest guy in the world, but 3 steps later, he's out the quarterback. He has some of that ability, and he is willing to stick his nose in there. He doesn't lack for physical intent. We know the tackles are pretty good because we just saw him for 13 games last season. We know the edges could improve because we saw them too. But of course, he's faring a lot better when he's going up against a second-team offensive tackle than the first teams. Again, that's so zero sum makes it hard to know how great the offensive line is versus the defensive line. I think Burke is going to be a better player when he's not going up against Christian Jones and Kelvin Banks every day.
Yeah, you hope it's an iron sharpens iron thing and not truly lopsided. So what specifically is the defense doing that's giving the offense so many headaches? Is the defense just winning across the board?
Maybe running on the edges might be the only advantage I can think of. It's a deep defense. The defense is deeper than they are on offense. The second team defense has made some plays too. There's a lot of guys there that are taking the next step. Even a guy like Jet Bush, you talk about how they're going to get a pass rush. He's a good blitzer. The cornerbacks are extremely deep. Malik Muhammad might end up being the 4th cornerback on this team, but to do that, he would have to overcome Austin Jordan, who played some last year and played well. Xavier Bryce is a quality player. They're 3 deep at star. Keaton Crawford covers a ton of space. The windows close really fast when Keaton's out there and knowing where he's going, which has been kind of a theme so far. So the windows just close real quick. I think it's a pretty fast defense. David Benda, you're not really sacrificing speed with Benda replacing DeMarvion Overshown. Some people might not really truly grasp that, but Benda's a really football fast player. His issue has been sort of like Keaton Crawford, is knowing where to go. Things are slowing down for him. So it's a pretty fast defense. If they had a true edge rusher, it would take it to a whole nother level. But right now, I think the D-line has good motor, and the coverage in the back is going to you're going to see some coverage sacks this year, probably more so than we saw last year. And I do anticipate they're going to be considerably better on 3rd and 4th downs, which is really what was the Achilles heel on defense last year.
If we clean up 3rd and 4th down this year, we'll be even better than we were last year, and that was a good team. And a quick special teams update, what's kick return and punt return looking like? I know we have some new names there.
Yeah, Jaden Blue would be the guy returning kicks right now. If you look at that guy's profile coming out of high school, he's got a running back build but elite speed. So now it just comes down: is he going to see the lane and hit it? That's you got to have a kamikaze mindset back there. And if he has that, he's got everything else. The speed is elite for his running back size. There's faster running backs. Somebody asked me if he's as fast as Devon Ache. No, but they're entirely different builds. Blue's got really the ideal size for it. Jordan Whittington would be great too, but I don't think they're looking at him back there. Cedric Baxter has gotten some looks, and DeAndre Moore. So they're going to be young back there if they stick with this, but they can always go back there and put a veteran like Whittington if they really felt the need. Punt returner is Worthy. DeAndre Moore's getting looks there as well. I think it's safe to say that Worthy was really reliable last season. Such a dichotomy between his trouble locating the ball. Obviously, it's a whole different thing. He's facing the ball. It's different, but he was extremely reliable last year, and if they get better coverage, he'll house a couple this season. So I think he's going to pretty much be the guy. But DeAndre Moore's, they just love DeAndre Moore. He's getting looks at kick return. He's getting looks at punt return. He's going to be back up to Whittington at slot. He's got really underrated speed. I think even myself underrated his speed coming out. So, I think they're going to be young on special teams in many ways, but that's good because that's where you want to get those young guys acclimated to playing under the lights.
Good stuff as always, brother. Thanks for the update. Let the viewers know where they can sign up for the constant team coverage, and you still have that sign-up promotion running, right?
Yep, same promo as always, or at least recently. Gives you a good introductory price to come check us out. I know you can absorb a lot in these short videos, but we put out so much content, it's impossible to stay up to date with just these videos. So give us a shout. We've got all kinds of quality writers, contributors, analysis. Women's basketball, we're trying to step it up there. Women's volleyball, giving the girls their due as well. So if you're into just all the sports like some of you diehards are, we're definitely a place to be.
And that's a wrap on Eric Nahlin. Head over to Inside Texas and sign up today. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support Quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.